Welcome to my regular look at WTI crude oil price action and predictions. So many factors at play at the moment pulling that price in either direction, whether it be fundamental or speculative, making it very hard to work out where that price is heading next. So I'm going to have a look at some of those fundamentals, a bit of sentiment and the charts to try and translate what's going on at the moment for you. So with that, let's get on with the analysis. Let's start with some fundamentals then, and straight into the Baker Hughes rig count. Now this is a great proxy for what's going on in the energy sector. I like to use the US line, and we can see +9 change from prior count and +223 change from last year. So still looking pretty bullish there in terms of rig count numbers. For those of you who like to track crude oil inventory numbers, we've got some stats for you here. A bit of a mixed bag looking at that bar chart over the last year. Now I like to use these numbers more for big outlier actual numbers versus the predicted forecast. Now last week 3.925 million barrels worse than anticipated. This week's forecast 1.36 million barrels out Wednesday 3:30 GMT time. So like I say, keep an eye out for any outlier actual moves, but at the moment pretty neutral in terms of any sort of story we could tell from it. What's the sentiment technical analysis telling us? Well, down the bottom we've got seasonality pretty flat at the moment, and as you can see on the left it shoots on up into spring for the rest of the year. So bullish come December time for the seasonality. But the interesting takeaway here is the large commercials, large speculators, commitment of traders data. Now, as I've explained before, we would anticipate the large commercials moving in the opposite direction of the price and the large speculators moving in the direction of the price. But as you can see, there's a bit of a divergence going on at the moment with the large speculators and the price action. Same for the commercials. That to me is more of a bearish indicator of possible price move down to these key support zones in that 80 sort of dollar area. So that's looking a bit more bearish there on the sentiment. But if we head into the technical analysis direct, then we've got a line break chart here, 4 line break chart, to give us some reversal entry points in. And this is if you're bullish, what numbers will we be looking at for putting the odds more on our side for that up move? Well, we want 88.5 and 89.5 sort of as the entry point to that upside. And if we head into the Renko charts, we've got a long-term view on the left and short-term on the right. What's the long-term looking like? Well, we can see that lovely run-up we had from March 2020 to those highs, just around $130. Since then, been in that range down to, let's call it 90, and then broke just below into this zone where there's a bit of action, price noise over here, which is like the mid 80s, and it's hovering around there at the moment. 2 pink line box breakout neutral at the moment in terms of price action, and the longer term downside maybe there $66 if it breaks further. Upside, if it can get through the 92, it's no man's land up to the $127 previous. Signals at the bottom where the trend is down there at the moment, but the short term is up, so pretty neutral in respect to that. And then if we head on to the short term view on the right, signals at the bottom where it's a mixed bag, bearish there on the trend, regression just sort of warming up, and stochastics neutral to warming up. Price action like this purple line that I've drawn in around here, where there's been a lot of noise historically. Mid 90s, we could see support become resistance, resistance becoming support at these type of zones. Price could come up, bounce back down. Downsides if we're looking at some numbers, early 80s in here, and then we could be down into the 60 sort of dollar, late 50 areas. Now if we can break up through that $94-95 zone, it's up to 100, then we could go at $110, and then the early to mid $120. So interesting chart at the moment. I'd say pretty neutral in that price block there between 80 and $100. Going to bounce around, a bit of volatility there as the fundamentals play out as well. So long term and short term, pretty overall neutral at the moment, but within those ranges to give you some trading opportunity. So let's talk a score then for WTI crude oil. I'm going neutral overall at the moment. I'm giving the long term really, all pretty neutral pattern at the moment. We've gone in that sideways range. It's quite a wide range, but $20 odd to play around with. So a lot of opportunity there if you've got some range bound strategies. Short term, a lot more weak bearish. Now other factors at play, a bit of a mixed bag. Seasonality neutral, cop bearish, rig count and line break bullish, and nothing there on the inventories. A couple of numbers in on the right of the line break for some potential upside. Now if we focus in on the targets, okay, either way, upside numbers 2.4, 5.4 to 1. Downside targets 1.14 and 3.14 to 1. But overall, based purely on the technicals now, I'm looking at a wide ranging neutral position for crude oil at the moment. So if I was to summarize things at the moment, I would be using technical analysis to take advantage of those range bound price movements. There's some nice big ranges there. Some indicators like stochastics could help you with that timing and entry exit of those trades, but then you've got to factor in the fundamentals for that breakout in either direction, north or south. OPEC plus probably want it to get on up towards the 120s, 130s like we saw previously. The rest of the world really want that price down, and that could get itself down to $60 if it breaks below there. So use the technical analysis to time your way and keep a close eye on the fundamental action out there at the moment. Let me know in those comments below what you think is going to happen next. Love to hear from you. If you want to learn any more about the Renko charts that I've used in this video, then I'm going to give you a link to follow just after this. That's going to get you from A to Z, from hero to zero using those charts within a few hours, and here it is.